Hello. So I don't know where to start. This is something that I hear very often from new clients when we're talking about. One of the questions that I ask them is, "What's the state of your house or your apartment?" And some people, depending on their personality type, like if they like being in a clear, decluttered apartment or home, they say, yeah, everything's great, it's all in order. And then I have other people, like a guy that I spoke to this morning, who said to me, I just feel so down and oppressed, and whenever I come home, the place is all messed up, and the kitchen's a mess, even though I do the dishes. And he said, there's just so much clutter, because I've had him making his bed every morning for the last couple of weeks, and he's doing that. And he said to me, initially, he said, "Oh, I don't have time to do it properly." And I said, "Well, set your alarm for 15 minutes early and turn on your favorite music and make your bed properly, like really properly, and pay attention to it and be mindful." And he said, "Well, I can't turn the music on because I like heavy metal and I'll wake up the neighbours." And of course, he got a smart ass comment from me about putting in earphones and turning the music up as loud as you want, dude. So for 2 weeks, he's been making his bed every morning and making it properly. And he said, "Oh, I thought, you were joking when you told me to make my bed, and I thought it was rubbish." And he said, after a couple of days of walking in the door, he said, because I've done it early in the morning because I go on shift work, I kind of forgot that I had made my bed and, tidied things up. And he said it was so nice to walk into a room that was, had a clean, fresh bed made. And so he realized that is the little things that make an impact on you. And then he said, "Oh, but the rest of the house, there's just so much stuff, and I've got to hire a skip and get rid of things. So I can't, clear things out until I hire a skip." And I said, "So you're using a skip as an excuse to not get rid of the clutter?" And he didn't like that. And he's like, "Well, what do you mean?" And he said, "I need a skip. I can't start doing anything until I get a skip." And that's the thing. We quite often will make excuses. We'll do anything to not take action. So I did what I normally do with people who have got a little bit of mess in the house, or not even mess, but just accumulated stuff. And I said to him, "You've got to use the Pomodoro method, where you set, which is a Pomodoro is tomato, I think, in Italian." And the Italians are great cooks, and they have a food timer in the kitchen, like a kitchen timer that looks like a tomato. So you set the timer for 10 minutes. You pick a drawer, a cupboard, a spot, a magazine box, the top of the fridge. You pick a spot, just one. And you go nuts for 10 minutes. So it'll be keep, chuck, donate, or sell. And one of my beautiful clients, Mary Wheatley, did it last week. And I said to her, "Do Pomodoro 3 times on your day off." Well, she started doing it and had so much fun, she went all day. And the other thing that she did was the stuff that she put aside to sell were just little trinkets and things. And she made $800 last week decluttering her house. Like, that is insane. Like, who even $500, if you made an extra $500 this week just going through what you have and putting stuff aside. So the piles are keep, chuck, donate, or sell. And, when you look at something, look at it and think to yourself, look, how long since I've used this? If it's been over a year, you're unlikely to need it. Is it in great condition? If it is, you can sell it or donate it. If not, just get rid of it. And so he's like, "Well, there's just so much to do in the house, I don't know where to start. So I'm feeling, I just so unmotivated." And that's what happens when you don't take action, is that you get completely paralyzed, like, because you don't know where to start, because it's overwhelming. One of my best friends is a professional organizer, and she's got some great advice about all of this stuff. Her name's Rosie Hooper. And she lives in Brisbane. And if you need any help and you're living in Brisbane, get Rosie over. Her business is called Rosie to the Rescue. And I've taken a lot of her advice over time. Like, I got Rosie to unpack my kitchen once when I moved house. And it was just incredible. When we have the way that we set our house up, quite often we'll set it up the way that our mum and dad did. So I had my kitchen set up the way that my mum would do it, and for me it wasn't practical. So Rosie unpacked everything, and for the first couple of days I didn't know where anything was, but after that I realized that she had unpacked the kitchen and put everything in the most practical spot, and it was just a breeze to get around. So that's another thing to consider, is to get a professional organizer in if you need help, because sometimes it can be completely paralyzing and you don't know where to start. Even if there's a couple of you in the house, like this guy lives on his own and he's really overwhelmed. And so I set him the task today. I said, do the Pomodoro method a couple of times, because he had today off. As I said, he's on shift work. So he messaged me this afternoon and he said, I did that, potato thing that you told me to do. And he had actually gotten rid of a heap of stuff. Because I said to him, when I had a go at him about using the, not being able to get a skip as an excuse, I said, you got a big rubbish bin there and a recycle bin. You can use that every week, So he said both the bins are full and he feels heaps better because he's cleared out a room in the house, and he had his horrible heavy metal music on. It doesn't do anything for me, but he loves it. And he got a lot done. And he said to me, why does the music make such a difference? And I said, well, it's the same as guys at the gym or people at the gym who listen to, music. It really motivates you and it gets you bopping, and you'll find you'll always train better with music. And you always clean the house or declutter better with music, because it sort of distracts the brain. It gives you something to do, releases some endorphins and makes you happy while you're going. Hey, Roberta. So that's my little tidbit for the night. Just get in there and do something, like take action, because the longer you sit around and do nothing and stare at the walls, that's not serving you, sitting down, looking around and feeling miserable. But if you actually want, one thing this guy said to me, he said, I kind of felt a bit chuffed, when the bin was full and I realized I had cleaned out the garage. And, he said it does make a difference. He's so cute because he is really embracing coaching and the coaching process, even though it's completely unnatural to him. He's never been exposed to anything like this before, but he said he's loving having that outside influence sort of calling him on his bullshit as well. And I think sometimes that's what we need, is, someone to hold our hand and someone to, show absolute empathy, but also kick us in the pants as well. And it's nice to have some outside ideas, some new, fresh ideas. So my challenge to you tonight, because there's still plenty of time, is just set the timer for 10 minutes, pick a drawer, a cupboard on top of the fridge. I don't know, anything. Pick a spot in the house and just do it for 10 minutes and keep, chuck, donate or sell, and see how you feel after it, okay? Oh, there's Rosemary. Awesome. Rosie, we were just talking about you a minute earlier. So yeah, drop the link to your website in here, Rosie, so that people can look you up if they are in Brisbane, okay? All right, I love you guys. I will see you tomorrow night. Go and set your timer for 10 minutes and do your task. Good night.